Hello, welcome to another reaction video. Welcome to the channel once again. It's time for the Tudors episode number 9 of season 2, and I'm really excited to dive into this one. This season has been amazing. It's been way better for me than the first season. The first season was really good as well, but the second season is just, it's way better, and it's also mainly because for me, this is the most interesting time in Henry's reign. In this period, the most interesting stuff happens for me. The separation from the Catholic Church, the marriage to Anne Boleyn, the downfall of Anne Boleyn, her execution, Thomas More's execution, everything. So, really interesting period in his reign, and this season is all about that. So for me, it's the most interesting season. But if we look at just the show, it's really well done. The writing is really good. I think a step up from season 1 as well. I think the whole production looks better than in season 1. Maybe they had more money or something. The actors perform really well. It's just an amazing season, and they've been gradually building up towards the end of the season, and it just it gets better and better every time. And the previous episode, I think we saw the downfall of Anne Boleyn, starting out with Jane Seymour coming to court, and Henry was making advances towards her. They even kissed, and Anne walked in on them, which was a shock to her, of course. Later on, she had the miscarriage. Henry had the jousting accident, which opened up a wound in his leg, an old wound, and he had some ulcers there, and that's going to bother him for the rest of his life. So I think we're going to see that throughout the show as well. Maybe they're going to cut it out. Maybe he's going to heal from it on the show. I don't know. But in real life, it affected him. And the end of the episode, we even saw Henry saying, I made this marriage under the spell of witchcraft, meaning that he's done with it. He's done with Anne Boleyn. He's done with the marriage. He even said, so I'm going to marry again. So I think he has his sights set on Jane Seymour now. So he's going to get rid of Anne. And, I'm really excited to see how they're going to portray that, how they are going to get rid of her. Of course, we know that there were some accusations of infidelity and incest. So maybe in this episode, they're going to crack down on those suspects. In real life, there were 4 men, besides her brother, he was accused of incest with her brother, but he was accused of incest with 4 guys. 2 of the guys we actually, we saw a lot on this during the season. There was Mark Smeaton, the musician, and we saw William Brereton as well. They changed up his whole storyline. He was an assassin. At the beginning of the episode, we didn't see his face, but later they revealed that it was Brereton who was a would-be assassin of Anne. I don't know. I haven't read anything about him wanting to assassinate Anne Boleyn. Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't. Like I said in the previous reaction, they're not gonna write stuff like that down. We have plans to execute or assassinate Anne Boleyn. You don't do that. You wanted it to remain a secret. So maybe there were conspiracies to assassinate her. I don't know. But William Brereton being one of them, I don't know. So he's going to be one of the guys that is going to be accused of sleeping around with the Queen. I can get it from the show standpoint that it's Mark Smeaton. Mark Smeaton is hanging out with Anne a lot. He's in her private chambers, playing music to her as well. But we really don't see Brereton and Anne Boleyn together in this episode or in this season. And there hasn't been, any accusations or implications that there maybe an affair was going on. I think that's one of the things that on this show, if you don't know that through history, you're going to be like, how did they come up with this guy? He was never around her. He was a servant. We saw him serving food to Henry and Anne as well. And that's about it. He was in the beginning of the season, he was hanging around her quarters quite a bit, maybe trying to assassinate her. Maybe we're going to use that, that they say, well, we saw him sneaking around Anne's apartments, which, I don't think he would have had access to in real life. But yeah, so I'm curious to see how they are going to portray that, and also the other guys that they are going to implicate. And maybe also her brother is going to be implicated as well. So I think in this episode we're going to see maybe those guys being imprisoned, being tortured as well. We know for a fact that Mark Smeaton was tortured, and he was the only guy of the 4 guys that actually admitted to having sex with Anne Boleyn. And that's probably under duress of the interrogation, of the torture. And the other 3 guys, they proclaimed their innocence until their death. So yeah, I'm really eager to see how they're going to show this in this season or in this episode. So that's what we're going to probably see. Are we going to see the execution of those guys? I don't know, maybe. Or maybe they're going to save that for episode number 10. Maybe do that in the beginning of the episode, and then at the end of the episode we have Anne's execution. I don't know. So yeah, I'm really excited to dive in. Not a whole lot to talk about anymore. So let's dive in. Let's watch this episode number 9 of the Tudors. Let's go.
The child had the appearance of a male, about 4 months old. However, the fetus, there were signs of deformity.
I was going to use that against her, of course. It was maybe the devil's doing or something like that. I don't think I ever read anything about this baby being deformed or anything. Maybe it was, I don't know.
King Francis must be persuaded to accept the marriage of his son to our daughter Elizabeth, so that I may not be ruined or lost. For I see myself very near that, and in more trouble and grief than I was ever in before my marriage.
Yeah, she thinks, she senses that the end is near.
It is His Majesty's pleasure to appoint you a gentleman of the Privy Chamber. In that capacity, you will attend His Majesty daily and as he sees fit to use you.
Family is already rising. The Boleyns are falling. Seymours are rising.
His Majesty has indicated to me he would like to pay court to your sister from time to time, although to avoid any scandal attaching itself to your sister's name, only in the presence of a member or members of your family. Offer you or your family my private chambers in the palace. As it happened, they're adjacent to the King's private chamber with a connecting gallery for greater privacy.
You are most generous, Mr. Secretary. I'm sure my father would like to repay your kindness.
Of course he would. And Cromwell would accept it, of course. Already going ahead with the courting. Henry doesn't waste any time.
I have something for you.
No, Brereton is there as well. I think he would be happy if Anne was to be replaced.
I will treasure this all my life. And if they ever open my grave, they will find it again. Right next to my heart.
I wonder if that is true. They open her grave, where Henry is resting as well, beside her.
I think Norris comes into your chambers more for your Majesty than he does for Madge.
For me?
I think he said in the previous episode that he doesn't want to marry, He think it's quite appealing to him to be a bachelor. Oh man, is she looking at the locket with Anne there? It's gonna be exposed now.
What is that?
Awkward.
Let me see it.
She's gonna freak out. Oh shit. Henry is not gonna be pleased. He barges right in, Cromwell.
Mr. Secretary.
Majesty.
I think he was pretending that he didn't see her or something.
Our Reformation was never meant to be about personal gain. Religious houses should not be sold off, but converted to better uses.
Madam.
She's just gonna keep on critiquing him.
So is it true you've given your private rooms here to the Seymours?
And she knows everything.
You have overreached yourself, Mr. Cromwell.
Believe me, you have placed yourself in very great danger.
I think it's the other way around, Anne. You've overreached yourself.
Once you assume I no longer possess the power to crush you. It would be an easy mistake to make, Mr. Cromwell.
Yeah, so it would be the case if you underestimate Thomas Cromwell. He's gonna not accept this.
She might like this returned to you. Thank you.
That's nice for Madge. I don't think Madge has a lot of love for Anne as well.
Is it true that you have fallen out with Queen Anne?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
I believe she hates me and wants to have me executed.
I think these guys are gonna team up now.
I'm sure he wishes to confirm a new alliance with the Emperor. What else he means to tell you, I cannot guess.
Then I look forward eagerly to finding out, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, getting rid of Anne, marrying again. I think that's gonna please the Emperor. It's gonna smooth over the relationships between those guys.
You could ask your brother to be kind to me. He is cruel in every way.
Come now, I don't believe you.
You'll be rid of him soon. Don't worry.
The king cannot satisfy a woman. He has neither the skill nor the virility.
Holy shit. Oh, man. Yeah, you can tell from everything that she's panicking, you know? She's sensing the end is near.
The Imperial Ambassador is to be received at court. You will make a great fuss of him. In the first place, by inviting him to kiss your cheek.
This dude, come on, man. I hate this guy so much.
We have come so far. No one is going to be allowed to destroy us.
What is gonna happen, man? The end is near.
Do you understand?
I understand.
Imagine having this guy as your father. Horrible.
Your Majesty. Your Majesty.
Already sucking up to the ambassador. He's not gonna fall for it. He hates Anne.
But he's gone.
It is not without good reason.
What is that reason? I would like to know. It's got a good vantage point from up there. You can see everybody scheming and plotting.
I know the Emperor is keen to protect his lucrative trade links with England. And obviously my family is in a position to help and assist him.
He doesn't need your help.
Salute.
Salute.
Yeah, he's not falling for that one.
In fact, can anyone here tell me that the French are anything but liars and hypocrites? Do they ever tell the truth? How many treaties do they honor? How many promises do they keep?
Yeah, he's pissed off, and rightfully so, you know. He's really going for it. Oh man.
Your Excellency. Follow me. Excuse me.
But it's like, I want to sit in, but you're not welcome, dude.
Excellency.
Yep. Turn away.
The inclusion of the Lady Mary in the line of succession, and support for the Emperor in his war with France over Milan. As far as the Lady Mary is...
Some hefty terms.
Am I not a man, as other men? Am I not? Am I not?
What is happening here?
You do not know all my secrets!
I thought they wanted to be friends with him again. Now he's telling him off. Which is going to please Boleyn, of course.
He must accept Queen Anne.
I have nothing more to say to your master.
I'm confused. I don't know. There must be some plan behind it, because this wasn't what I was expecting. Maybe he doesn't want to show all of his cards, you know, that he wants to get rid of the Boleyns.
There are some rumors about the Queen's behavior.
Here we go. Infidelity.
It's come to my notice that some acts of treason and other offenses have been committed by those we loved and trusted, by members of our own court.
Here we go.
As Solicitor General, I am appointing you and Mr. Cromwell to head a commission of Oyer and Terminer to investigate whether or not these offenses be true.
Everybody's like, what are you talking about?
You certain of that?
Yes, sir.
This bitch is gonna spill the beans.
From those commissioned by the king to discover it are themselves guilty of treason and are very likely to be hanged.
She has seen some stuff, you know, that she probably interpreted the wrong way, but...
For very good reasons, I want you to leave Whitehall for a while. Go back home with your father.
I will leave. Of course I'll do anything Your Majesty commands me to do.
I want to tell you.
He's gonna send her away for her own protection, of course. I think that's a smart thing to do. I don't think you never know what the Boleyns are up to.
Come on!
It's true that some men came into the Queen's chambers at own 2 hours.
Here we go. Oh man.
She flirted with them, but
What are their names?
Smeaton.
and Sir Henry Norris.
And?
The King's groom, Brereton.
And?
And Mark Smeaton, the musician.
And?
Well, I saw her hugging and kissing her brother.
Man, she named everybody. Holy shit.
You believe this to be true?
Man, don't ask her. Oh shit. She's not gonna hold back on her husband.
You believe that your husband committed incest with the Queen?
Crap. She wants to get rid of her husband. And this is the way.
Mr. Cromwell.
I feel sorry for Smeaton, you know. He didn't do anything wrong.
I want to know when you slept with the Queen and how many times you slept with her.
Not wasting any time.
Never slept with the Queen. Mr. I don't understand, Mr. Cromwell.
You're going to have to tell the truth.
Man, that hurts like hell.
I never slept with Her Majesty.
Only with her brother. Oh man, horrible. The guy, you know, he didn't do anything wrong. You know, he slept with her brother, of course. You know, he's gay. Is to be considered a sin back then, but you know, he's not even interested in women, so he would never sleep with the Queen.
Mark Smeaton is arrested.
What for?
We don't know yet.
And tortured. Yeah, man, if you torture somebody long enough, he's gonna tell you everything you want to hear. So, and that's what's gonna happen with Smeaton. I don't know, in real life, maybe you slept with her. I don't know. We weren't there, of course, but of course on this show, he wasn't even close to her. Man.
I mean, you suppose that if anything bad happened to the king, then you would think to have me.
Madam, if ever I had such a thought, then I wish my head were cut off.
Oh, that could be arranged.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. Yeah, but he's making himself a little bit suspicious, you know. He's always hanging around those apartments and, you know, trying to court match. It doesn't go through with it. Even said to the king he doesn't want to marry her.
Sooner or later, Mr. Smeaton will tell us the truth. So...
Yeah, like I said, you know, torture him long enough and he's going to tell you everything you want to hear. Holy shit. I think his arms just popped out of his socket. Ugh. Horrible.
Make sure you keep the king always in your sight.
His Majesty, Mr. Cromwell approaches. Whoa.
Oh man, I'm gonna arrest George now.
Smeaton has confessed.
Yeah, that happened in real life. He confessed. He was the only guy to confess. Keep the king always in your sights and just let him ride off.
Master Benedict, by order of the king, you are arrested for high treason.
He's like, for what? Did they find out my plan for assassinating the queen?
I have to see the king. It's too late, George. Much too late.
Yep, it's too late for you.
For the love of Elizabeth,
You lied to me.
mercy.
You've always lied to me.
No!
You were not a virgin when you married me. You were not what you seemed. Your father and your brother arranged everything.
Oh, don't fight in front of the child, man. Come on.
One more chance. One more. Henry.
Not gonna happen.
Your Majesty, I beseech you.
Okay, so that was a little bit traumatizing for that kid.
The queen and her tongue in your mouth, your tongue in hers. Hmm?
Damn.
You baffle me. My enemies have poisoned the air with their horrid lies.
That is true.
I am innocent, Mr. Cromwell.
Just tell him that you don't even like women.
I swear on the blood of Christ. I am innocent.
Of course you are.
Yeah, it's a horrible family, you know, but, you know, he's telling the truth. He didn't do anything wrong, so.
Do you ever have carnal knowledge of the Queen's Majesty?
Yes.
What the hell?
Yes, I did.
Okay, pause. So, okay, in terms of the show, I can get it why he confesses, because we saw him in the beginning of the season that he wants to assassinate Anne Boleyn, and now by admitting that he slept with her, he's basically condemning Anne Boleyn, and you know he get what he wants. She's gonna be executed. You know, he's basically sacrificing himself for her to be executed. So he gets what he wants in the end. But you know, that's the show. But you know, I have to state out that the real William Brereton never confessed. Mark Smeaton was the only guy that ever confessed to ever sleeping with the Queen, and that was after heavy torture. You know, Brereton never did that. You know, I can now see why they did the whole assassination thing and that he did it, because, you know, this is his way of condemning Anne and getting what he wants. But, you know, it never happened in real life. He never confessed. Here they come. They're coming to arrest Anne.
This is the warrant for your arrest. You are charged with committing adultery with Mark Smeaton, Sir Henry Norris, and William Brereton. Both Smeaton and Brereton have already confessed their guilt.
Yep, you're done for.
Lady Sheldon.
There is no time to change your clothes or pack any of your things. Money will be provided for your needs at the Tower.
Yeah, I don't think Brendan will lose any sleep over being executed. Nice touch. Here the crows again.
I pray God will help me, for there is no truth in these allegations.
This way.
I think you're telling the wrong guy, man. I don't think he can do anything for you.
Do I go in a dungeon, Mr. Kingston?
No, madam. There are lodgings made ready for you.
That's nice. You'll be imprisoned in nice surroundings.
My mind is clean amazed. I cannot believe that she is guilty of such abominable crimes.
How would you know? You weren't there.
Yet I cannot think that the king would have proceeded so far unless she was culpable.
He changed his statement pretty quickly.
What of the others? Smeaton, Brereton, Norris, and George Boleyn have been found guilty. And are to be executed tomorrow.
Yep.
You know what Cromwell told me? He told me that she'd had to do with over 100 men.
A bit of an exaggeration.
Her baby was deformed. Did you know that, Charles? So how could it have been mine? Perhaps Elizabeth isn't even mine.
Damn, he's losing it.
Fucking bitch!
Wow, we got some swearing in the TV show? Holy shit.
The Queen was tried yesterday at Westminster Hall. She pleaded not guilty to all the charges against her, but the evidence being overwhelming, she was sentenced to death either by burning or decapitation, according to the King's pleasure.
What's going to happen to him on this show? You know, he was released in real life, so...
Smeaton, Brereton, Norris, and George Boleyn all guilty as charged.
Thomas, what about me?
We found no evidence against you. You're to be released.
It's a bit weird, you know. On this show, he's probably the only guy who has slept with her. In some shape or form. And he gets to walk.
But I'm the only one who's guilty!
Damn, he even says it. Does he want to die? Oh, we're getting the executions already. Of the guys. Oh man, her brother goes first. Man, I would be shitting my pants. That was happened to me.
As you are now.
Man, I really hate him. So, would she have a view of her brother's execution in real life? I don't know. I don't think there would be that many people around. You know, he was a nobleman, so he'd probably be executed inside Tower grounds. Well, here he goes. Damn, they even showed it. Holy shit. It's crazy. Why would you watch that? Man, they got Boleyn in the cell as well. That never happened in real life. Okay, pause again. Holy shit, they're changing so much stuff now. So, they got now Thomas Boleyn in the jail cell. That never happened. He was never arrested. He was even one of the judges on the cases of the 4 guys that were executed. Brereton and Smeaton and Norris. And, you know, he condemned, he was among the guys that condemned them to death. Basically condemning his own daughter to death. So, him being in a cell, that's not historically accurate at all. He was never arrested. Man, these guys are so calm in face of death. You know, I would just try and run away or something. I don't think I would go down without a fight.
It is a great loss that you are dead and gone.
Yeah, he seems very determined to die.
The time you had above your poor degree. The fall whereof...
Oh man. Took three chops.
Slipped your hold, and you are dead. And gone.
For some reason I really feel for this guy, you know. He never did anything wrong, you know. Of course, he was gay and everything, which was frowned upon back in those days, but did he deserve this? Absolutely not. And he was tortured as well. Look at his eye. Ugh.
Blind desire of ambitious souls. Who...
Yeah, you're next. She knows it. So, damn. I really don't know what to say. Episode number 9, season 2. What an episode. Holy crap. Yeah, I think it was a really good episode. Maybe a bit rushed. I think they went through all these events with lightning speed. You know, we didn't even see the guys being tried. We didn't even see Anne Boleyn being tried. They just skipped that. The guys were, you know, they were said they were found guilty, and then we saw their execution. And Cromwell said, you know, that the Queen was tried as well, and she was found guilty. So yeah, for me, the first impression now is a bit rushed. It's not that it's not a bad episode, not at all. It's pretty good, but it felt rushed to me. You know, I wanted to see more of it. Maybe see the trials, of course, of those guys. Certainly the trial of the Queen. We know why they didn't show that. I don't know. And also, it changed a lot of stuff. Like I said during the reaction, you know, first of all, Thomas Boleyn, he was never arrested. We saw him sitting in a jail cell. That never happened. He was one of the guys that sat over the trials of the guys that were indicted with having sleeping around with the Queen, you know, Smeaton, Brereton, the other guys. And, you know, he was one of the judges there, basically, and he condemned those guys. He said they were guilty, and in saying that they were guilty, he was basically saying that his daughter was guilty. So he condemned his own daughter to death. You know, is that in line with the kind of guy he was on this show? Absolutely. Was he this kind of guy in real life? I don't know. You know, he was most certainly a guy that was trying to, you know, gain riches and elevate his stature, of course. But, you know, I think everybody did that back in those days. And we even saw the Seymours on the show now that are doing that exact same thing, you know. On the show, he's a horrible man. Don't get me wrong. You know, I really hate the character, and the actor who plays him did a phenomenal job playing him. But, you know, I don't know if he was like that in real life, you know. But him being arrested, I don't know why they did that. I think if they wanted to, if they didn't arrest him, they would have had to show us what happened to him, and they would have shown us the trial that they and him being on it. So maybe that's why they changed it. I don't know. Then secondly, we saw Brereton confessing his guilt, which never happened in real life. You know, in real life, Smeaton is the only guy documented to have pleaded guilty, and that was after extensive torture, which we also saw on this episode. And yeah, Smeaton was the only guy that pleaded guilty. You know, Brereton confessed. He didn't confess. He claimed to be innocent until the day that he died. I don't really like the fact that they changed that. I didn't like the fact at all that they made him a would-be assassin of Anne Boleyn. I didn't like that at all as well. And now I get why they did that. You know, he basically sacrificed himself to have the Queen condemned. And that's why you saw during his execution, he was the only guy, you know, he was ready. He didn't bother. It didn't bother him that he was going to be executed. His mission was fulfilled. Queen was found guilty and she's going to be executed. And, you know, that's what he wanted to do. And I think in his mind, he was like, yeah, man, I did my job. I'm going to heaven. I did what the Pope wanted. And, he wasn't afraid to die. But, first of all, I didn't really like all the whole assassination stuff. And I said it in those previous episodes where, in the beginning of the season, where it was really a topic in the first few episodes. I said so as well, that I didn't really like it. Then they made Brereton the would-be assassin. I didn't like that at all, because I knew, of course, that he was one of the guys that was going to be indicted, and now he confesses his guilt as well. If you don't know the real history, you'll be like, hey man, the two guys confessed their guilt, which never happened. If you watch it from a show perspective, it's of course very plausible and very understandable that he confesses because he wants the Queen to die. But I don't get it. I get that you want to put some more drama in TV shows like this, but I think you can change a lot of stuff and invent right stuff yourself, because there's a lot of stuff we don't know. What I said it before as well. What happens behind closed doors at the palace, that wasn't documented, so you can have your way with that. Write all the stuff you want, invent all the stuff you want, come up with all the stuff you want. But, this is true history. This is documented. Brereton was convicted. He was executed. But, he never confessed. So, yeah, I don't really like that. It's too big of a plot point for me to change. So, yeah, that's the downside for this episode. But, they already started with that in the beginning of the season with him making an assassin. Like I said in the reaction, I really felt for Smeaton. I think he's a nice guy, especially on the show. I didn't know him in real life, of course. Don't really know a whole lot about the real Mark Smeaton. But on the show, he's a likable guy. He's gay. We don't frown upon that anymore. It was frowned upon back in those days. So he was considered a sinner back in those days, just like George Boleyn was for being gay. On the show, that is, because I've never read anything about George Boleyn being gay. But yeah, for me, Smeaton was a likable guy. He was a musician. He played music. People enjoyed his music. He made the Queen feel good about herself. He do all the festivities that we saw. He played all the music, and people were having good times. And now, he's tortured. I think he's the only guy tortured as well. They didn't even. Norris wasn't tortured. I don't think they needed his confession at that point, because they already got one from Smeaton. But yeah, I don't think he deserved that, and also the way that George Boleyn went out, he was betrayed by his wife. Man, I think a lot of people watching the show are like, man, good riddance, the guy deserved it for treating his wife like that. And I don't know if that happened in real life. I don't know if his wife condemned him or not. I have to look that up. It's not something that I read about. Maybe it did, but it's something that I have to dive in. But if you see all the changes that they made, if that's made up, I wouldn't be surprised as well. So, this sets everything up for the final episode, I think, of the season, and that's when we're going to see the execution of Anne Boleyn. It's pretty clear now that it's going to happen in that episode, and I don't know if they're gonna what they're going to show us in the rest of the episode. I don't think they're going to drag it out for the whole episode, but maybe they're going to kill her off in the middle, and then we'll see Henry courting Jane Seymour some more and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe he's going to reconcile with Mary a little bit, because I think this whole chain of events is steering him a little bit more towards Mary again. I think she's going to, at least in the third season, she's going to be invited back to court. I think she was pretty good friends. She had a good relationship with Jane Seymour. So we're going to see more of that in season 3. But don't want to go into season 3 already. We got one more episode to go. And that's, of course, Anne Boleyn's execution. So yeah, I can't wait to dive into that one. Also to see if they changed everything for that. Are they going to be, like at George Boleyn's execution, there were a lot of people spectating. I said so in previous episodes that a lot of guys were executed on Tower Hill. That's a public place. You would have a large crowd gathering there to watch the executions. But mainly the noble people were executed inside the Tower grounds. And normal people are not allowed to go there. So they were executed, I think, in a more private setting. I don't think that George Boleyn would have been executed with a large crowd around him. I don't even really think that Anne Boleyn would have a view on his execution as well. I think he would be in another part of the castle, but if you're going to see Anne Boleyn's execution with a large crowd, I don't think that's accurate as well. Are they going to do that? Probably. They want to maybe have that feedback with her and the crowd, of course. Maybe the crowd booing her, just like they did their brother, to show how she was disliked by a lot of people. If you go to the Tower of London now, you can still see the site where Anne Boleyn was executed. There are some talks, and I don't think where they have the memorial right now for Anne Boleyn's execution, a lot of people say that it's not in the right spot. I'm not an expert on that, so I have to follow the experts who say that. I don't know, if you go there, if there were specific areas where they did the executions, I don't know. But there are some experts say that the memorial was not at the exact position where Anne Boleyn was executed. I don't think it really matters, of course, because she was executed in that vicinity. So you can still go there. It's still there. There's a memorial there to her. You can even go inside the chapel, inside the tower. That's where her grave is. It's not like a grave that you expect. There's just a small tile on the floor saying that she's resting there. Her bones are below there. That's about it. And some other people are resting there as well. It's a pretty cool site to visit. You can't really get up close to the tile on the floor because they have it roped off. It's like in an elevated spot in the chapel. But it's still, it's cool to be there, especially if you're a fan of the show. I think a visit to the Tower of London is a must. Just to see where all these guys, all these people that we see on the show were kept as a prisoner and were executed. And a little trip outside of the walls, you can see Tower Hill, where Thomas More was executed, and Fisher and a whole bunch of other guys as well. So that's pretty cool sight to see. If you've never been there, if you're a fan of the show, I would highly suggest that you do. Go to the Tower of London, go to Tower Hill, see those execution sites, see the gravesite, or the plaque on the floor, the tile on the floor where Anne Boleyn is resting. So it's pretty cool to see if you're a fan of the show. So I would highly recommend that. I think for now, we have to wrap up this video. I have to let everything sink in. Like I said, it was a good episode. Could have been better, in my opinion. They changed up a lot of stuff. Maybe I'm a bit of a history nerd. Too much of a history nerd to, stuff like this that have bothered. I don't. It doesn't bother me that they change things and everything, but the big stuff, it would be my preference that they leave that intact. So yeah, I have to let it sink in. Maybe if I think about it a little bit, the episode is going to grow on me a little bit more. But for now, I'm just it's a good episode, but not the best out of the series, and it's a shame because it's a lot of really important stuff happened, of course, and I hope they do better in the next episode. We'll have to wait and see. So for now, thanks for watching. Drop your comments, what you think about this episode and all the changes that I made. Really like to have your input on that and your opinions as well. And I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye bye.